Got it.
I'm pretty proud of this since she was able to do a pull-up around 4. We've done pull-ups and push-ups. I wouldn't say 90% of the days every day since then.
Wow. So time to brag. How many pull-ups does she do now?
Her max is 30, but
In a row, like
in a row.
consecutive.
Yes, in a row. One of the things I don't have as much respect for is when someone like says something, but then they don't do it themselves, right? I think it's very important to lead by example and really set that standard, right? So, praise the effort and not the results, right? So I think I always just look for little progressive steps up and like trying to look for the optimism in whatever happens, like accountability, having integrity, like just taking control of what you can control. Those are really the things that I want her to take forward.
All right, Bert, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. Glad to be on. I know, we tried to set some time up. Sorry, I was traveling to Japan. It was a little hard to find some time and space, but I'm back now, fighting a
Where
little
are you
jet
now?
lag.
California?
I'm back home in Orange County. It's in California.
All right. Why would you decide to visit Japan in winter? Wasn't it super cold?
It was super cold. My wife's family is from Japan. So my wife's actually
Mm,
from Japan, and she moved there from Japan when she married me. So visiting her family for the holidays, my in-laws,
I
and
see.
we went skiing and things like that. So it was nice.
Yeah, we were looking into it as well, and then I saw the temperature, and I thought, oh no, we're not going there, not now.
Oh yeah, no, we were in Hokkaido for part of the trip, and it was very, very cold. So
Oh, Jesus. All
yeah.
right. Dude, I want to talk with you about how to involve kids into working out, or in general,
Yeah.
how to get kids into exercise. And I had this topic in mind for a long time, and then I stumbled upon your Instagram profile, and I thought that I
Uh-huh.
need to do it with you because, like, on your Instagram profile, I see all these videos with you and your
Yeah.
kids, and I love that. Like, one video has 60 million views or something like that, right?
Yeah, that was one that I think came up earlier this year. A lot of them started getting really popular this year. Like, I post a lot, but I guess like
That's
one in a
crazy.
blue moon, they go a little viral. So, but yeah, I've been doing it with my older daughter, which I'm sure you're the one you saw that one since she was pretty much since she was born. We've been getting involved. So I see you do the same with your daughter.
Yeah, I want to talk about that today, obviously.
Yeah,
Um, right now, all I know from you is that you're a father, that you're into
yeah.
working out, that you also passionate about involving your kids into sports and working out. Tell me something about yourself. Who are you and what's your background?
Yeah, so I'm 36 years old now. I'm a father of two. I work in finance for a large consumer goods company, which you just saw. And yeah, I mean, honestly, like I started getting into fitness probably during college. So I'm not from like a athletic upbringing. My parents are both immigrants from China,
Mm,
and their mom's a scientist, my dad's a computer engineer.
mm,
So, I really grew up with like a traditional, like, hey, go study, like,
no.
do all this stuff type of environment. But I grew up in Chicago, and around like the age of, 7, 8, or 9, sometime in my youth, I discovered the existence of Michael Jordan.
Mm.
So I just became a huge Chicago Bulls fan and really got into playing basketball, watching basketball, things like that. So I guess that was sort of my first passion, was just like, hey, I loved watching the Bulls, loved watching basketball. I started playing myself. And it was one of those things where like my parents didn't really support it. They were just like, hey, go study, things like that. So ended up, you know, I guess like giving up on that basketball like a little bit to my displeasure, right? That was something I wanted to do, but I felt like, I was persuaded not to. And then as I got older, right, I really just wanted to get back into that type of activity because it
But
was something I was
at
like,
this point, you were watching and playing basketball, but not into working out at all yet. Is that correct?
not at all.
Okay.
So what happened was in college, after my freshman year of college, I was playing basketball and I tore my ACL
Mm.
in my left knee. First time I did it. I've actually torn it 3 times, but this was the first time. And when I tore it, right, I was just like, oh crap, like that's not good. Like I can't play basketball. And I had never really worked out, but I've done like things like when I was playing basketball, I would do jump training. Like I had these ridiculous shoes that would help you jump higher. I did a lot of plyometrics and things like that. But I guess I was just like scared or intimidated of actually going into the weight room
No.
and really squatting, like doing the lifting type of things. But when I
Because of what?
started,
Scared because you would like lose flexibility or your skills or like
I think it was really just like maybe I didn't have that much confidence
mm,
as growing up
yeah,
because I mentioned like I love playing basketball, but like I wasn't really supported to it, so I didn't think like, oh, I'm a small Asian guy, right? Like I'm not going to be fitting in the gym,
no,
right? Which was really an
mm,
insecurity of mine when I was younger. But once I started lifting, I was like, wow, this is great because like, I started out doing like the bar, right? And then like after a couple of weeks, I was doing 10 kilos on the bar, and then suddenly I'm doing like 20 kilos, right? And then you really see a rapid improvement, and then I just got addicted, right? It was a way that I could really like focus and show progress, and it was all like
yeah.
my doing, right? I could
Did,
really
did
see the
did you have a
results.
friend who introduced you to the gym, or how did that first step happen then? When you said you were
Uh,
intimidated?
so I was in college, right? And like I had some buddies I played basketball with, and then like I couldn't really walk or do anything, so they're like, "Hey, you might as well just get big, right?
Yeah,
Like
okay.
get big for the girls." So that's how I started getting into it.
Oh, okay. I like posted something last week about it where I mentioned I went to the gym here. I had to go to another gym because I think 1st of January my home gym was closed. I had to go another one. And I just hated the workout because like it was
Yeah,
dirty, all the equipment, the people around there were like just not my type. And then I thought, man, the environment makes such an impact. Like there are
yeah,
gyms, even me as a fitness enthusiast, that I love going, and other gyms that I think, what I'm doing here, I just want to get it done and get out. So I think the thing that he mentioned about being intimidated of gyms could be changed if you go to another gym, right? Do you agree with that?
yeah. I would agree. I also think it's like one of those things like a lot of begin this was also back in like 2005, 2006, like 2006, 7. Back then social media wasn't really around. Like
Mm,
all you had were like those big bodybuilding magazines. So it wasn't like as prevalent now where you can go on social media and just see like, oh, someone like me, right? You see people like that and you see them working out. And I feel like that helps make it more relatable
yeah,
for people,
absolutely.
especially
Yeah,
when they're starting out to not feel intimidated.
no, no. Yeah, back then I remember those days of the magazines.
Yeah.
Just like just check the eyes on they were like did this crazy workout programs. Did you try them as well
I
when it
did.
started?
I did. Yeah.
Crazy.
They didn't work that well.
Right.
So
Crazy.
yeah.
And then your goal back then was just to get big, look good for the girls. How did you make this or balance the athleticism that you have from basketball and then also looking appealing, looking aesthetic?
Yeah.
I mean, it's two different goals. One is performance, the other one is
Yeah.
aesthetics.
Yeah, so good question, right? So like I think when I started working out, like I started getting bigger and things, but I had a lot of injuries. Like I think I had a lot of imbalances because I was really just doing a lot of bench. Like I was spamming bench, spamming arms, doing a lot of the bodybuilding workouts
Yeah,
that weren't very functional. And I got hurt a few times and like I had to rehab, do all these things. But what really changed me actually was when I had my daughter. Okay. So during the time, like, I had my daughter when I think I was 27 or 28. But
okay.
a lot of my buddies at the time, like, they were just like, hey, man, you're this guy who just goes to the gym. You're not going to like have as much time to work out once you have a kid. And they
Yeah,
were giving me like, some crap. They're like, hey, you're going to have a dad bod.
yeah,
And like in a bad way. Right. And
yeah.
that really like, sort of a joke, but it pissed me off. So I was like, all right, watch
I'm
this.
gonna prove you,
And
right? Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
can prove you wrong. Hmm.
and what I did was I bought a pull-up bar and put it into my condo. And when I started doing the pull-ups, I was like, wow, like I'm pretty good at them because I was a little small, but I mean I was like a smaller guy with a high strength ratio. So I just felt like that stuff got really like it came to me pretty quickly. And then social media started coming around then, and you see people like doing these muscle ups and like calisthenics type things.
Yeah,
I thought that was the type of workout I wanted to get into. So I basically switched my workout routine from like just a hey power lift or bodybuilding like magazine type
yeah.
thing to more of a functional athletic type of workout.
Do you remember what time that was, more or less? Like what year?
I would say 2015 to 16, 2016 probably.
That's interesting because it's the
Yeah.
same for me. Like I went to the United States in 2014, and I was there in Santa Monica at the beach and saw all these
Yeah.
gymnasts and Cirque du Soleil artists, and I was so impressed. And I want to do that. So I need to do that as well, right? I want to work out
Yeah.
with those guys,
Oh my God. That stuff was so cool to me at the time because it's like
right?
I could lift as much as I want, but I was never going to be like the strongest guy, right? But then if you're doing stuff with your body weight and you're flying on the bar, like it's pretty cool. So
Awesome. Okay, before we go into
yeah,
how that went with your daughter, just quickly, what is your approach to nutrition? Because you're in good shape yourself, and yeah, before we talk about the other stuff, I want to know how does your nutrition look like these days? Actually, both. How often do you work out? How
yeah,
you structure your workout, and then the nutrition part as well.
yeah. So I would say how I work out really depends on my schedule, right? Because I do have a typical office job, 5 days a week,
Mm,
and things like that. But what I try to do is work around that, right? So what I do is like I'm pretty flexible with my meetings. So if I see I have a time where, I have an hour block where I don't have any meetings like that, I try to set a time to just go to the gym,
yeah,
right? So what I aim for is about probably 3 to 4 workouts a week in the gym. And then I do a lot of body weight exercise, just like, when I'm not in the gym, like during my
yeah.
downtime at home. And then I take a lot of walks, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I can, I'll go out and
How many steps
walk.
do you do on average?
Uh, I try to shoot for at least 15,000, but
Okay. Oh,
since I've been going back from Japan these last few days, like I have nothing to do. I'm just, completely free. I've been doing like 20 to 30.
oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. So like I try to do 3 to 4 times. If I'm during the work week, maybe just fit in 45 minutes to an hour. It's a little bit more condensed, a little bit more, just get the basics, get the main exercises in. And then I'll have a big workout on the weekend because, I have more time and try to do maybe a 2 hour full session where I go full body, really do like all the stretching, warm up mobility
Yeah,
work.
same.
And
Yeah.
that's what I really look forward to
Uh,
is that
uh,
weekend
yeah.
workout.
I feel like this as well. Like Monday to Friday, it's more like I'm going to the gym, get it done, get out, and then weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I have more time. So I do like warming up for like 30 minutes and then the
Yeah.
workout and then yeah, the stretching at the end. Like it's going to be a really long session, like every time.
I mean, you got to make what your time work, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, like it's all about balance approach there because I think a lot of people, especially with full time jobs, they use that as an excuse, right? It's like I don't have time to do it, but there's always some time. You just got to fit it into the right
Of course there
schedule and
is. Of course there
prioritize
is.
it.
Yeah. When do you
Yeah.
usually work out? What time? Is it always depending on your
Um,
schedule, or do you have like a typical uh, time of the day you
Yeah,
work out?
so it really depends on. I look at my calendar, so I plan ahead, right? I look at my calendars for that week when I have my meetings. If I'm fully booked with meetings, then I'll either take the day off or I'll try to work out in the morning.
No.
If I don't, like, if I have a gap on my schedule, then what I usually try to do is find that gap. Say it's in 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll just go to the gym and come back.
This must make so much sense what you're saying, and it's basically what I tell every single client with the steps and with the scheduling and organizing and see when you have like some free time, scheduling it in. Maybe it's yeah, there is days when you go in the morning, other days you go during lunch, whatever fits you, right? Um,
Yeah,
so I love hearing that. And then
I
how does a typical workout look like? Let's say, did you work out today?
I did do a workout today. So today I did. So I usually do 3 splits. So I have one. I do chest and legs. So that's probably my main workout days. Like I do some sort of high bench press variation. So
Mm,
I like to alternate some of the main bench press or chest movements as my main exercise for the day. So sometimes I'll focus on flat bench. Sometimes I'll
mm,
do incline bench. Sometimes I'll do the weighted dip. But what I do is I pick one of these main exercises I consider my core exercises, and I progressively overload on that, right?
mhm.
So, I try to do a set of 5 to 6 as my top set, track that weight, and then every week for like a 5 to 6 week cycle, I'll try to go up 5 pounds
No. No. How do you
on that
track it?
part.
Do you use an app? Do you use like paper, pen?
I track it in a sheet, but also I just remember
All right.
usually.
Cool.
Um, so I do that, and then like usually I can go up 4 to 5 weeks in a row where I'm gaining weight, and then once I hit a plateau for a couple of weeks or so, I'll just rotate the exercise out.
No.
So say I plateaued, I'm flat. I'll now focus on incline,
Mm.
right? And then I just
Makes
do
sense.
that indefinitely over
Makes sense. Makes sense.
time.
Absolute sense. I do the same,
Yeah.
like usually 8 weeks and then I change it up, other exercise as compound. Yeah, so great. I love hearing that. Have you ever worked with a coach or did you come up all yourself with that?
Um, I haven't really worked with a coach
Okay.
before. I sort of just looked at some programs online, things that I felt could fit, right? Like it was a lot harder before when it was bodybuilding magazines because they have like these ridiculous workouts, like, oh, I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah.
do 30 arm curls and all this
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
At some
I
point I
hired
just
once
realized,
like a
yeah,
fitness model back in the days. You might know him, Lazar Angelov. Like
yeah,
fantastic looking guy. And the workouts were so crazy. So you do it for 2 weeks and you're just gassed, like overtraining. Like
oh right.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I think it was just like once I realized that, hey, this workout I can recover and I can have one goal in mind, and that's just to track the week by week progress.
Hmm,
I started seeing like pretty good results with
hmm.
it, and it was sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. Most important. So right now you're focusing on getting stronger, obviously. How important is aesthetics to you?
Uh, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's
Don't
too
lie.
important, right? Like I, I try to keep my body fat in like a reasonable condition, right? But I don't track it too much unless it gets toward the summer, and I know
Hmm,
like, hey, I want to be really lean, then maybe
hmm,
I'll dial it in a little bit. But with the type of workouts I do, right, I'm focusing on strength to weight ratio. I do a lot of body weight exercise. Like, I'm never really going to get out of condition that bad.
hmm, hmm. Okay. So what are you most proud of like your workout routine right now? I saw you doing some dips, actually pretty heavy ones. Pull-ups, I think you're pretty good from what I can see on Instagram.
Yeah. I would say those are probably my strongest lifts are my weighted calisthenics.
Mm,
So for dip, I've gone up to 225 pounds, which is what is like 100 kilo,
mm,
and that's extra weight. And then
mm.
for pull-ups, I've been able to do my entire body weight extra, and
For
obviously
how
I
many
could do some
reps?
cows. Oh, just one, just one.
Okay, okay.
Usually, what I'll do is I'll go
So
down to
that was
100 pounds,
uh,
and I'll do 5 or 6 as
uh,
my
uh,
as my working set.
cool. Awesome. And then your approach on diet and nutrition, do you do calorie counting? I assume not, as you have a family, but who knows?
I mean, I used to, but now I sort of do it more intuitively. Now, it's pretty simple, right? Like, I think with diet and nutrition, it's if you just don't do the things that are obviously wrong, you should be in decent, condition,
It
right?
is that
So,
simple, actually.
like, yeah, like, look,
Yeah.
extra sugar stuff. Like, I work for a beverage company, right? But like, I don't drink full sodas. I
Mm,
don't drink sodas. I
mm,
don't drink juice, right? Like, if I drink anything with calories in it, it's going to have like some nutritional value, like
mm,
protein or something like that.
mm.
Whole foods, right? Like obviously, you want to eat
What
as
did you have for
much of.
breakfast this morning, for example?
I actually do. I intermittent fast.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So
Um,
what is your lunch?
Lunch, I actually had a Chipotle bowl. So
Okay.
I mean, like I go to Chipotle a lot, but I make it pretty healthy. I get
Uh,
the brown rice, veggies, double meat, some
nice.
cheese, and light salsa. So
I miss
it's a very
Chipotle.
easy meal.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it's like what do you call it? Like a burrito. Like you make your own burrito, right? Where you can choose
Yeah,
what you want to have in and so good, so good. I missed it.
yeah,
Cool. You mentioned before that you became a father at 27, 28,
yeah.
and then how like obviously you have less time. At least this happened to me. You have less time with
Mhm.
no longer 2 hours to go to the gym. This happened to me at least, right?
Right.
I would go to the gym 2 hours, and now you have to be well more smarter with your time and use the time better. Um, what adjustments did you make when that happened?
Yeah, good question, right? So I think the first one was like a lot of the workouts that I do, it's because of father, right? So knowing I had less time, I did things like got some home workout equipment, right? I got the pull up bar, I got a set of parallettes to do like L
Yeah,
sits and
cool.
dips and things, push ups, and then I switched my workouts from being like, oh, you can go 5 6 days a week because you have like unlimited time, right? To now you really got to focus on, hey, 2 3 times a week, right? You got to hit the compounds, right?
Mm,
So changing it from like having all the time and just doing a bunch of exercises
yeah,
to really, here's 5 or 6 exercises that are big compound lifts that your entire routine is, right? And what I realized was like, you really just need to focus on those basic exercises. You don't
true.
need to have all of these different variations or isolation things. If you just do, a couple compound movements for each major muscle group, you're going to get a lot of results as
Yeah.
long as you're tracking it and trying to get better at
I agree. 100%. How did you get your first child then into working out? You said it was right from the beginning. Did you send her to
it.
gymnastics or what
Yeah.
was the plan there?
Yeah. So with her, when I had that pull up bar, right? So we did a lot of things when I was just becoming a dad, right? Like we had a baby carrier and sometimes I would like have her, like it would be safe obviously, but add her on and do
Yeah.
some pull-ups and things like that. As she got older and was able to actually like move around, we lived in a small, 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, right? So I'd always be in the living room like doing push-ups and things like that. And you see them come over like, oh, what's daddy doing? And then they'll like try to copy you, sort of
Right.
like get on their hands, do some planks. Um, and I thought that was just amazing, right? Was like,
Right.
wow, I'm like really being a good example here,
Yeah.
and they want to be like me. So
Yeah.
that really motivated
At what age did that happen when they started to be like you and do the same things?
me. Honestly, their kids are observant, so
Right.
I
It's
think
like right from the beginning. That's
right from
yeah.
the beginning, I
Yeah.
think like as soon as she was able to move, I could see she was like mimicking me, and
Yeah.
then like by the time she was like one, like toddlers, you could really see she started like moving, like she could start hanging from the bars and like she would do like squats and things like that. Obviously it
It's
wasn't
such a
like
good feeling as a father, don't you think? I had so much joy. Like I have this
oh,
video, like 5 or 6 months old, and then she does the plank next to me. And for me, that's like, wow, such a good feeling.
it is, it really is, and it just it makes it fun too, right? Because you can keep those memories like, hey, I'm doing a plank, my daughter's like doing tummy time or something next to me. So
That's awesome. How did that, well, would you say it's a passion for them?
I would say so now. Like, I mean, just like to provide some more context, right? Like, I think my older daughter really started getting into it during 2020 when the pandemic happened. So I used to go into the office and I would, go into the gym like when I did my workouts.
Yeah.
But when 2020 happened, my daughter was, I think, like 3.5 or so at the time. And that was probably the perfect age for her because, like, at that point, I was always home and I did all my workouts at
Mm,
home, everything, right? And then she was also getting like big and coordinated enough where she could really almost do some movements, right?
mm.
So you could see her doing hanging leg raises, like trying to do pull ups and stuff. So I think during those few years, like she got really close to getting passionate about, she was passionate about it, right? And then once she could do her full first pull up, then it was game over. She just got really into
How
it.
old was she when she did their first pull-up? That's quite impressive.
I think she was just about to turn 4, and then she was
Wow.
like, "I'm gonna go do a pull up," and that
Huh,
was like, "Oh my gosh, she
crazy.
actually did
Huh,
it."
crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But the same happened to me actually. Like, my daughter was 2020, and like you, I just did everything at home. And what happens then? Like, you spend so much time together, and like, every day daddy works out, so she wants to do it as well. Like,
Oh
and since
yeah.
then, I'm trying to integrate her as well. It's like I would go to the gym. Um, Sometimes I bring her to the gym, or we do like some other kind of workouts at home or whatever. How often is it for you? Like, do you work out at home together? Do you ever bring her to? I don't think it's allowed in the US, is it?
So sometimes like she does come to the gym with me, but they have like a daycare center there.
Okay,
So
okay, got it.
it's more for that. But like, sometimes like she'll come out early and I'm like, hey, let's just go to the gym. And then she'll go and do some pull-ups or she can do muscle ups now. So every time she does make a little cameo, like we obviously it's not supposed to be allowed, right? But like people would always just look and we're like, oh my God, that's crazy and stuff like that. So it's pretty fun when, she does that, but most of our workouts are just at home. So
Got it.
I'm pretty proud of this since she was able to do a pull up around 4. We've done pull ups and push ups. I wouldn't say 90% of the days every day since then.
Wow. And she's now 7 or how old?
She just turned 7. Yeah.
So time to brag. How many pull-ups does she do now?
Um, her max is 30,
In
but
in a row, like
in a row.
consecutive.
Yes, in a row. But like I don't want to get her to be too cocky about it, right? So
Yeah,
I'm just like,
but
oh,
dude, that's crazy. That's crazy.
yeah,
How many
yeah.
do you do? She's probably better than you already. No?
I mean, I could probably do a little over 30, but like it gets a little bit more like, hey, how's the form there? So I
Yeah.
would never lose to her, is what I'm saying, but I would be happy if she beats me,
Wow.
pretty soon.
Wow. And then push-ups.
She could. I don't know, because like the thing about these kids is they don't get tired. Like as long as they keep going, they could go on like forever. So I've tried to time her. I'm like, hey, if you're gonna do push-ups, let's do like as many as you can in a minute, and she can do 50 in a minute. And then if we let it go for like 90 seconds, she's done over 60. But like funny story, one time I was just like, she just for some reason kept going. She did like 110, and she could have like kept going, but she was taking like really long breaks, right? Like 5 seconds in a
Yeah.
row between each
Yeah.
rep, but
It's
she
like a
never broke the
super
plank.
girl right there. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
I
I'm
mean,
impressed.
she's got like a big a big mind, right? She very strong mentally.
When you work out with her, do you have like some kind of structure? Do you say, oh, we're gonna do 20 push-ups and then 10 pull-ups? Or is it more like just whatever you want to do? Fun.
Um, I would say we generally have some structure, right? Like we do, some similar to how I would work out, right? Like a tracking of push-ups, a tracking of pull-ups, things like that. But I'm not gonna lie, right? We've been doing this for 3 years. Like sometimes, the kids just don't want to
They
do
don't
it
want to do it. What
and
do you do then? What do you do then if she doesn't
those are
want
the
to do it?
tough times. Those are I mean, not tough, right? But like you got to be a little creative. So what I found was a good strategy was, she does gymnastics and she's been doing that. So the days where like instead of just me bossing her around, I'm like, hey, why don't you be the coach?
Mm,
Like, let's switch sides and
yeah.
then show me some stuff you're learning in gymnastics, and it makes it fun for them, right? And then they can see how bad I am at like some of these
Yeah.
flexibility things, and it just makes it something that really engages them.
I did that too. I even recorded the session and then I had to do the bridge and stuff and I'm so bad. She was already doing better than me and it was fun. It was great fun.
Yeah.
Does it ever happen that she doesn't want to do anything at all?
Uh, I mean, like, I think we've built up the discipline that,
That's good,
she
man.
knows it's just part of something that she does. Now, if
Mm,
she's like physically sick, we're not gonna,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're not
Uh,
gonna do that. But
The younger
like,
one also does it with you or
she does. I mean, she's a little bit like she's younger, right? So she doesn't have the development yet to
no?
really do too
How old is
much. Now
she?
she's 4 now.
Okay.
So she does like planks and push up holds and things like that. But it's interesting because I feel like she's got more natural flexibility than my older
Mm.
daughter, while my older daughter just had this like natural brute strength
I mean,
from a very
pull up
young
at
age.
4, that's crazy. Like I'm madly impressed.
Yeah,
Yeah. No. Okay. Because I think it makes me thinking and I need to probably get some structure into this. Usually what we do, I bring her to the gym and I let her do whatever she wants, and then she comes as well. She wants to do like hanging leg raises, or then she
mm-hmm.
wants to do hang around the rings and then do this, and then we do planks. But there's not a real structure in it. And so far, it's been great because it was mostly fun for her. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
only fun. She loves going to the gym. If I go without her, then she's almost sad. However, I also know if I would push her, then she could, well, achieve better results, right? But at this point, she's 5. I want it to be fun as well as fun as possible. And now I think as she's getting a bit older, I can like add some structure and really see, okay, what are some skills that we can work on. So you kind of
Yeah,
but it's a fine line, right? It's
yeah,
for me right now, it's purely only fun. And then is I know if you want to get good at gymnastics, for example, you know, to push and push a kid at this age, it can be difficult.
Oh, for sure. So I think that's one of the things I did, right, was like obviously you got to keep it fun, right? So like I think when we first started, it wasn't really about pushing her like really structured, like especially when she was 4, like it was just like, hey, you did like 2 pull-ups and then like you do more, and then it was just like, wow, you did
Mm,
more than last time. And I think the key there was really just building up a lot of confidence in her. Like I wanted to just praise the effort. Like there'd be times where she would just do like, 5 chin ups, 6 chin ups and do more and more. And like if you see these trolls on the internet, they're like, oh, the form's poor. I'm like, you're talking about a 4-year old, right? But like you would never say that to your daughter, right? You would just be like, oh my God, that's so
of
amazing. That's
course.
good
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
And I think what that was like really building up her confidence and understanding that like if you try your best, then you can get better results and how that feels, right?
Mm,
So it was a lot of it was developing that self confidence and like when she tries her best, then like that's what you praise, right? You praise the effort, and then she
yeah.
got better at it,
Yeah.
right? And then like after a while, right, it became fun because it made her feel good that she could, do more and more.
That's cool. Funny story. I had to buy the Pikachu costume because of your
Yeah,
daughter because we saw the video on your Instagram and she did the muscle up, right? And she was like, "Yeah, I want
yeah,
to do this as well." I said, "Okay, we're gonna learn the muscle up, but..." Or she actually said she wanted the Pikachu. I said, "Okay, but you also need to do the muscle up, right?" And
yeah,
now I have it actually right here, the costume, and we try. So, but again,
yeah,
like we went to the gym yesterday together. And yesterday she was just not into the mood really, but she tried, or she was not like, I don't know, I don't think she slept enough, and she was tired, and she tried and tried and tried and just didn't work. But I praised her just for the effort,
yeah,
right? She was there, she practiced, and that's what matters. Like even though the
yeah.
results were not perfect or whatever.
No, for sure. Especially like I think, now that she is older, right, and she's doing gymnastics, and I can see the capabilities that she has, right, because she's done these things before, and I understand the standard that I have. Like that becomes sort of a difficult balance. Is like sometimes when she doesn't do as well as she's capable of, then you really just have to like focus on like, okay, did you put the effort or not?
Yeah,
And that's what you praise, right? Because
yeah,
like at the end of the day, you're not like actually their coach, right? You're the dad, right? So
exactly.
that's what you got to remember, right? Not to push too hard.
And not to mention the bond it creates. For me,
Yeah,
that's super, super cool. My passion is fitness, and I love my daughter, and I can put those things together. And I sometimes wonder how other dads do that when they don't have like this mutual passion. And for me, that's amazing because we spend so much time together. And again, I can do what I love with the person I love. It's like so
yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
No,
really
that's
cool thing, I think.
that's I mean that's really the best too. Is like, and also I think like when they get older, or hopefully, right? Like they'll remember it too, right? Because like it's being present in their lives as well, right? Because I'm not saying like, oh, I've been working out with her for like 3 years, but like, I've put forth like time of my day,
Yeah.
in the morning, every 10 minutes, like I'll try to put 10 minutes, like, hey, let's do push-ups, pull-ups before school, things like that. So, it really puts a lot of responsibility onto yourself too, right? Because now that's become like, hey, this is something we do. This is part of both our bonds.
What do you hope from it? Or even if you see your children in the future, do you want to like be actually a professional gymnast, do whatever they want?
Mm-hmm.
Is sport something that you want to push them in the future as well?
Um, so it's funny because like you would think like she would be really good at gymnastics, and like she's decent, right? But it's more than just strength, right? There's a lot of
Yeah,
flexibility, things like that. So I try to be like, okay, maybe she'll get really good at gymnastics, maybe not. But either way, right? I want her to think about the consistency,
yep,
the discipline,
yep,
and all of those things that she learned
yes,
from
yes,
doing this.
yes.
And like I say a lot of things to her, like which they sound a little I don't know, just sort of catchphrases. I'd be like, "Stop making excuses." I'll say things like that, and like she'll say it back to like, sometimes she'll say it to my younger daughter, like, "Hey, stop making excuses," and things like that. But like, it's really things that I felt that made my life a lot more,
100%. It's like,
a lot, yeah, like accountability,
yeah,
having integrity, like just taking control of what you can control. Those are really the things I want her to take forward. And like, even if it's not a sport, gymnastics, whatever, like if it is, that's great. But I think having those values will really be what the
yeah.
work is.
Apply it to like the workspace or whatever you want to pursue,
Yeah,
and you will be like successful there as well. I 100% agree. It's the same with me. Like I get it asked quite a lot, and literally the same answer. Maybe she will go this road, maybe not.
yeah,
It's not about me pushing her because I know there will be some Russian parents who really push their kids from very young age, and
right.
I don't know how
The
the
government
relationship.
pushes it too, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
that's true. But
yeah,
then the relationship will be very weird. And again, as you said earlier, I'm her dad, not her coach, and I want to have a good time with her. That's most
yeah,
important. And then whatever she wants to do later, I'm open for that. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
very
for
similar
sure.
mindset there. Cool. Um, if a father comes to you, that has probably happened many times already, or on social media,
Mhm.
was it, hey, Bert, I want my kids to involve into sports as well. What should I do? What would be your, let's say, three tips?
Yeah. One is, I think most important is you want to set an example yourself, right? So I think one of the things I don't have as much respect for is when someone like says something, but then they don't do it themselves, right?
Yep,
I think
same.
it's very important to lead by example and really set that standard, right? So one is if you are trying to get your kids into fitness or something, but you're not demonstrating it yourself, you're not waking up, like they don't see you like getting your steps in, doing push-ups, stuff like that, then you really don't have the credibility to say, oh,
No,
I want my kid to be like a great
it's
athlete or something if you're not doing it
yeah.
yourself.
It's like telling
Um,
your daughter to eat an apple every day and you don't do it yourself. Like, no,
right.
that's like hypocritic.
Yeah, I would say that's the first, right? Because they really model what they see. And then from there, a couple things are, start with things that make it fun, right? Like I think you're spot on, right? You want to make it fun, you want to make it enjoyable, you want to make it something that you guys can do together, or like some sort of bonding exercise. That way they'll feel more than like, oh, what am I doing with this? They'll really feel like some sense of purpose or gain from it. And the last I would say is, praise the effort and not the results, right? So I think I always just look for little progressive steps up and like trying to look for the optimism in whatever happens, right? So I think if you do those, right, like no matter what, you will start getting them engaged, right? And then you just got to be consistent with
I agree. Like before we recorded this, so like 40
that.
minutes ago, I wrote three things down as well, and it's exactly the same, or pretty much the same. I said, be a role model, right?
Yeah,
Then take them with you in a sense. It's almost the same because like if I take them to the gym, she wants to see what daddy's doing and wants to mimic me. If she never would see me working out, like why would she want to try, or she wouldn't have the idea to do that, right?
right.
I also encourage them to try out different things, and like I send her right now. I send her to gymnastics and then to soccer as well. We want to involve her in tennis as well, just to see what she likes and
Yeah.
where she has fun.
No,
So,
that's
yeah,
great because like it's not just gymnastics, right? We've done gymnastics, we do swimming, we tried out tennis, like she does skiing,
awesome.
things like that, right? So just getting them involved in a lot of things and like, hey, if they find a passion and they follow it themselves, then look, your job is over, right? Like you just
Yeah,
let them,
but again, I think the most important
yeah,
thing really is really show what a healthy lifestyle is, because so often like parents send their kids to nutritionists or to a trainer and says, oh, she just doesn't want to work out or she doesn't want to eat healthy. And then, well, are you? And it's like,
yeah,
probably not, right? Probably
right,
not.
right. No, that's number one, right? Is that setting that example and being that role model.
Let's talk quickly about social media because
Mhm.
like if you experience the same like me, you sometimes also get hate. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how do you deal
once
with
in a
that?
while. I mean, like I sort of think it's funny because like it's not until some of these videos got really big that you see the hate, right? Like when I was just, when I didn't have that many followers or didn't have that, no one cares, right? It's just like, oh, okay, you have people who follow you, they like it, stuff like that. No one
Mm,
really criticizes, but it's not until like things go out to like a wide audience
hmm.
that you start seeing hate. So in a way, it's good because you're getting more reach. But it just gets, I'm like, wow, that's surprising.
How do you react to that?
Uh, I, at first I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, why are you, I think I wasn't used to it at first, right? So like there was this video that she did a muscle up and it was her first ever muscle up. She was like 6 years old. And she did it. Like I was just like, oh my God, she actually got over the bar. And then there's like people like, oh, it doesn't count. She was
Yeah,
swinging.
come on.
And I was like, what is this?
That's
And like and
hilarious.
I actually entertained it. Like I was like, "Are you kidding?" I was responding, and then like, "Why am I wasting my
Oh
time?"
yeah,
And
for
then
real. Yeah.
after a while, I was like, "Oh wait a minute, these guys are just trolls." And now I take it like more of just one. Obviously, if you're spending the time to hate on something, like you obviously got issues, right? Like no one hates
Yeah.
on people who are below them unless you're just like a huge asshole or something. But like most of the time, if you're hating, it's on something that like you think is better than what you can do or something you're jealous of. So it comes from a place of like, insecurity and things like that,
Insecurity,
right?
jealousy, yeah. Have you ever had parents who criticized you for portraying your children on social media?
Yeah, I mean, I have like a lot of people say things like, oh, you're not letting kids be kids or like you're living through your daughter. I'm like, you know nothing about my life, right? And I think that's something too. It's just like I don't understand the ignorance that comes out of that. But maybe they just don't have the same bond with their kid, or
Right.
they're speaking out of
It's
ignorance.
probably
So
I feel the same. It's probably like something they're lacking. It's like jealousy or something. I had actually someone on I think it was LinkedIn, and she
yeah,
was like, it was a mother. She said, I would never portray my family on social media. And I I had a look at your profile, and I just responded that you would probably also never like work out. That was
yeah,
it. That was it.
yeah. I would just be like, well, I would never just comment on some random person I don't know's wall just because like I have nothing else to do, right? So
Yeah.
it's
And for
interesting.
people, for some people, it's they think we go to the gym or we set up you know, the kids and we do a push up, and then after 10 seconds recording, then it's done. We just do it for social media. I mean, for me, we
Yeah,
spend like 3 hours in the gym together and then 10 seconds making on social media, right? It's not
right.
like we go there to, I don't know, get fame or whatnot, but we're actually having fun. We're recording the fun we're having, and then that goes out to hopefully motivate some other parents.
Yeah, no, exactly. And if it was just like, oh, you're just doing it for the fame, like, do you know? I just don't think these people. Like, I mean, one, they're probably trolling, right? But like, it takes a lot of work and consistency to like do these things as kids, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think the comments I hate the most out of the haters is like, oh, it's because she's so light. Like, I used to do that too when I was 6. Like,
Really?
kids at the playground do muscle ups all the time. I'm like, what playgrounds are you
Uh,
going to? Like,
I
it's
love those. But you
those
get that
those
even
are the
from
ones.
I get it even now.
Yeah.
I'm 31, and sometimes, like someone who's 40 or 50. Oh, when I was 30, I looked like you. I did this as well. When was your probably not, but okay.
Probably not. And if you did, then what happened? Like,
Yeah, yeah, what happened? Like something went wrong, obviously, right?
yeah.
That's funny. Do you monetize your social media in any way?
So I don't directly. So I have a few like I guess like somewhat sponsors where I'll get some free equipment, things like that. And I'll have like, affiliate codes where, hey, you buy this equipment
Yeah.
that I support, then I get a little bit of commission. But I don't try to monetize it too much just because like I do have a full-time job and I
Yeah.
don't want to go down that path of getting too engaged in social media. But at the same time, right, like any sort of passive
Mhm.
income or support I can get, then that's why I take
So
advantage
what
of.
would it be your goal with like specifically Instagram? Because I see you are very active there. Do you have a certain
Uh,
number in mind? Is it about reaching certain likes, about impact? What would it be?
yeah, I would say my goal is sort of just what I'm doing now is just like, hey, originally it just started as sort of a personal blog, right? Like, hey, I'm working out. These are my own workouts. And then it's just naturally grown as I had kids. I started working out with my kid. It started getting some, more views. Then like now my kids can actually do things and so it's just getting bigger because of that. But
Mm,
ultimately, right, I think I just want to show that like I'm a normal guy. Like I have a full time job. I have a family. Like I'm not a fitness professional or anything, but I live a healthy lifestyle and my kids do too. And hopefully that motivates, other parents to do the same.
hmm. Reminds me very much of myself again. I think we're very much alike because like when I was younger, there were people who said, "Oh, you can work out so much because like you have your regular 9 to 5." And
Yeah.
then I got self-employed, so I don't have like this regular 9 to 5 anymore. Then I said, "Oh, you don't have a family." Then I had a
Yeah.
family, still worked out. And oh, you're not traveling, and now we're digital nomads. And I said, "Look, I just want to prove them wrong and showing it's possible." And even for me, I mean, I'm a fitness professional, but I
Yeah.
spend like 10 hours in front of the computer. It's not like a personal trainer in the gym or moving all day.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I love that proving
I,
people
I, I
on
think that's
Instagram wrong.
one thing is like a lot of people really don't they don't just they don't believe in these type of things, but it's honestly not that hard. Like I think I just try to do these things that are good for you. I don't do things that are obviously not bad for me, and I do it consistently.
Mm,
Like that's really how I've gotten to this point. And I guess a lot of people just don't understand that because they don't understand the concept of the consistency of it. And like, hey, maybe I'll have a cheat meal or maybe I'll like have some drinks one day or something, right? That doesn't throw you off course. You
yeah,
just get back on it.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, even on vacation, I assume that you have like some,
yeah,
I don't know, noodles, whatever you eat there, that
yeah,
wasn't perfectly healthy. But yeah,
of course, a lot of noodles, a lot of sushi, Japanese food, things like that. But I think that's actually one of the things like I love working out on vacation because like I have the full day to
right.
myself.
Yeah,
Why not at least do some exercise? That's part of your routine, right?
yeah, agreed. Do you show your daughters the likes or your social media profile? Do they have any idea what's going on social media?
I try not to make it like too obvious, but now my daughter sort of knows because it was funny. Like one of our videos, it was she did a chin up lifting up the younger
Ah,
daughter,
yeah, I saw that.
and it got like everywhere. It was like on ESPN, it was like on TikTok, all this stuff, and then her actual gymnastics classmates were like, "We saw you on TikTok. We saw," and
Oh
then
wow.
so now she knows about it, obviously. So like she has her own account now and things like that, but I don't think she really knows like how many people look at her account.
Does she handle it herself or is it you?
I manage it, but like
Okay.
I see what she wants to do and things
Hmm.
like that.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Do you have like any final thoughts here? Maybe actually, what are your plans for the future and your family? This is one thing I wonder as well.
Um, I think right now I work my corporate job, right? So I want to continue doing that. I think I'm in a pretty decent progressive path there. And, just like regards to that, right? I think a lot of it has been helped by the fitness and all of the stuff I've done as I'm starting to get into more leadership roles at my company.
Mm.
And I think my fitness has really like opened me up to be more confident and really lead people and be like someone that people look up more to in the company. Like before, I was just like, oh, he's an Asian guy. He's working really hard. He's like crunching numbers, doing this great Excel work. But I think
What
as
do you
I
think
got
is
more,
it? Is it the appearance? Is it posture? Is it what I think more like the
I think
mindset that you develop?
it's a combination of it, right? Like obviously, like being in shape does instill some sort of confidence like hey, this guy must take care of himself. But overall, right, I think it's really my confidence, right? It's like when the confidence I've got from working out and then also the mentality of being able to look at things optimistically, knowing that you can control certain things and like not dwelling on negative things. Because like there's a ton of things that happen
Yeah,
outside of your control in anything you do, right?
yeah,
But if you just focus on the things you could do currently and live in the present and be like, hey, what are the things I can do X, Y, Z that will be the best choice in this situation? And you do that consistently, right? I think it really, builds more success.
yeah. So someone will hear or listen to this and say, "Oh, I wish I would have started like 30 years ago as well, and I will never be so jacked or have that much muscles." But I think confidence starts even with saying, "I'm going to the gym 3 times a week, and I
Right.
actually do it." When you say I go to the gym 3 times a week and you go only once, what happens to the discipline and your self-belief?
Yeah.
Like the next time you're going to do that, new year, and you say, oh, this year, you already start not believing yourself. You're not doing it
Right.
anyway. So I think, yeah, it circles back what you said earlier, like saying something and actually like do it. Like that's most important, I think, or like a very important part to self-confidence.
Oh yeah. Just being accountable for your word, right? I think that's definitely it.
Awesome. Where can the listeners follow you or get in touch?
Yeah. So I would start with just, following my Instagram,
I'm gonna link
BT.
that. I'm gonna link that your Instagram.
Okay.
It's worth following. It's true. It's really cool. It's inspiring even to me. And again, we're doing a lot of similar content in the sense that we're just showing us working out yeah, with our daughters. But yeah, for now you're just like a level ahead of me, and I feel like wow. Even I can pull so much inspiration like as a fitness pro. I can do
Hey,
that.
I appreciate that, but I'm not a level head of you or anything. Like I think it's like I just want to be like a relatable guy who like helps show that way, right? Like I talk to a lot of dads, right? Like anytime they see me and stuff like that, like, oh, like I would have expected you to be more like, oh, this guy's serious and like dedicated to the gym and stuff. Like I am, but that doesn't make me like, any different from you. I'm just like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
when I go
yeah.
to the gym, I go to the gym and I just
Yeah.
do these
Yeah.
workouts.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Do you have any th final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, one, I really appreciate you taking the time to have me on. It was great
Dude,
talking
I
to you.
have
I
to
think,
thank. We want to do this for quite a few weeks already, and now we finally made
yeah,
it work. And
for sure.
yeah, I mean, I had no idea what kind of guy you were. I just looked at your Instagram and that's it. But I thought, oh, this guy, he knows something or he has something to offer. And again, it just resonates a lot with me and my story and how I and my daughter went into it. So I hope that one or another father listens to this and thinks,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be actually a good way to get in shape and bond at the same time, right?
Right. And I think it's like, it's not just obviously the physicalness of it, right? Like it's really building the mentality, right? I
Mm,
think confidence came up a lot. I became a lot more willing to take risks and looking at things optimistically. And then when you do all those things and you have that self belief, like good things will happen to you. It's not luck. It's really that belief manifests.
yeah, that's a good way to end the podcast, I think. Dude, thanks a lot for your time. I will again link your Instagram profile in the show description. Um, you will probably see me one or another time on Instagram when I like your stuff or when I slide into your DM. Keep it coming. Like I really enjoy your content there, and yeah, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Mhm.
And I'll do the same. And I'd love to see how you and your daughter continue on the path.
All right. Thank you very much, shoot. Have a great day. I think it's Sunday. Have a great weekend, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, you too. Take care, Mark.
Thanks, Bert. Bye bye.
Bye.